Welcome to the Z Hut. I'm Jay, and today we're going to take a look at how you can build the Teeter Totter live catch mousetrap. These are a great trap to use, especially if you're using them in your house and you have pets or small children. There are no poisons. There is nothing that comes snapping down like a snap trap. There's no glue that's going to stick to anything. Only thing to be aware of, though, if you have a toddler, I mean, these are safe to use around kids because of the facts I just mentioned, but still be careful with them because a toddler probably not going to realize, sees something in there, pries this open, the mouse could bite them because this is a live trap. This catches the rodent alive. Now, then, when you do get a mouse in this, it's up to you how you want to dispose of it. Whether you want to go over your neighbor's house when he's not home and let it go next to his house, or go in your bathroom, open the trap above the toilet, drop them in, hit the flush. That's a very quick way to get rid of them. If you flush it down the toilet, it's going to drown really quick. It's not going to suffer too much. Otherwise, like I said, the reason a lot of people use these is because they don't want to kill the mouse. They'll actually take it out and let it go way away from the house. Once again, it's up to you how you want to do that. All right. Well, let me move the camera in here and let's take a look at, I'll demonstrate this, how it works, and then I will show you how you can construct one of these yourself. And it's going to cost you like $5 or less to make one of these. They're cheap and they last a long time. They are kind of based on the principle. You ever see the bottle tilt traps? There's a lot of videos on YouTube on them, and the only thing I don't like about them, they're just gaudy looking. They're held together with paper clips and this old soda bottles, and they just don't look very good. Now this I haven't painted yet because it's kind of cold outside, so I ain't going to be able to paint it till spring. But once you paint this up and you have this sitting in the corner or something, and somebody comes over and is like, hey, what's that thing down there for? Hey, that's Teeter Totter live catch mousetrap. Or otherwise they come over and they see you got one of those homemade bottle tilt traps. It's got paper clips hanging all over and all that stuff. Well, big difference. They're going to be looking at you like, what's that pile of garbage down there for? All right, let me bring the camera in and we'll take a look at first, I'll demonstrate this being used, and then I'll show you how to build one. So I'll catch you back here in just a moment. Okay, I've got the trap set up here. As you can see, it's armed and ready to go. Now, to bait this end here has a cap, and this actually comes off. You got to put your fingernail in there, probably on a small screwdriver, because it's a nice tight fitting cap. That way we don't have to glue it. But what you do is you pull that out, and what I find works the best with these is you take some peanut butter and put it in there, and then I put a couple pieces of dog food or cat food on it and a raisin or two if I've got some nuts. Just a little selection of stuff that is going to attract a mouse. And by putting several different things in there, it increases the chance that they're going to smell it and it's going to be something they want. And as you can see, it's open, and this is the end they go in. So what happens is the mouse will come around and it will smell that there's food up in this end, and that's why this end is blocked off and it's an airtight seal. So they're not smelling this end and trying to jump on it and set it off. What happens is he goes in there, he gets up, then once he crosses the fulcrum here on the Teeter Totter, it starts and will move. And I'll show you in a minute. You can set this to be real sensitive. So it's a real super small mouse will set it off. But once he gets up, what it does is you can see it starts to go up. Well, normally this doesn't catch like that, but it'll go like that. And when the mouse is down here, it'll stay up. He comes back this side, tilts this way, he'll run back and forth trying to get out, but he's not going to get out. Now, if you watch the videos on the bottle traps, this is a variation of, it'll have something so when it comes back down, it keeps the door from opening. I eliminated all that stuff. Make this nice, super simple. You just need, and this is a 2-inch piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and that holds the door open. But what happens is when this closes, I have 2 rare earth magnets, neodymium, something like that. I forget exactly how it's pronounced. But I have one that's glued on the outside of this clear piece of plastic. And I use the clear plastic so if this does get triggered, you can look in there to make sure there's a mouse in there. You don't have to shake it to see if, a mouse goes flying back and forth. But a regular, normal magnet is not going to have enough strength. These neodymium earth magnets, and you got to really pry on this to open it up. And then I've got another one here, and it's sunk into the PVC pipe. So once it's triggered, it closes, and it's not going to open. Now this is my prototype. I actually spent the last couple of days designing this because I didn't really like how the bottle traps were. I figured there was a much better way to make this. And I came up with using the magnets. The next one of these I build, and I do recommend if you make one of these. Now this one magnet down here will probably work. I went on eBay and I found 50 magnets, these neodymium earth magnets, for $1 plus shipping. Now it's going to take a month to get them. But what I'm thinking of doing is putting 3 of them. So it's going to be even harder to push open. And that will probably also help if you've got a toddler or a small child. They're probably going to be able to open, but you put 3 or 4 or 5 of them, real strong earth magnets, you're probably going to have to use a screwdriver to pry this open. But that's what keeps them in, and then, of course, it's up to you how you want to dispose of them. You got a neighbor you don't like, just go over their yard when they're not home and open that up and shake the mouse out in their yard by their house. Now, I'm going to show you how you set the sensitivity to this, and then we'll take a look at how to actually build it. So what we have here, it's just a 2-inch piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe. Now I'm going to be going to the hardware store in the next day or two, and I'm going to get 2 end caps that are like this that just push on. I'm pretty sure I can also get them for this 1/2-inch pipe. And then I'm going to put some sand in there and put them on so this is heavier. So it doesn't, if a mouse comes up and brushes against it, it doesn't just knock it over and set the trap off. But what you do is you open it up, and I set this so it's just barely on the edge. There's lots of room to go through. Then what you do is the teeter-totter here. Actually, let me move this over so it's a little more in camera frame. The teeter-totter here will move. So I can pull it. It's a little more sensitive. What you want to do is set it so that just the slightest touch back here will... Oh, that's getting pretty close. I could probably get a little more. Oh, that's a little too much. You see, when I let go of it, it wants to close. So push it back just a tiny bit, and there we go. Yes, a strong wind would probably set this off. If you're going to use this outside, you'd probably want to set it back just a little more so the wind ain't going to set it off. But I just barely touch that, and you see it triggers it. It goes off, closes, the mouse is caught. Demonstrate it once again real quick, and then we'll take a look at how you make one of these. Just barely touch it. Bam. The mouse is in there. All right. For constructing this is 1 foot of 1.5-inch PVC pipe. You go right down to your hardware store. You're going to get this chunk of pipe for $1 at the most, I would say. The end cap that goes on the end here, I paid 80 some cents for this. This hinge, I got 4 of these for $1. I have another about 2 to 3 inch piece of the same 1.5-inch pipe, which do get like 16 inches, because you're going to also need to cut the bracket that this goes on, and it's removable and it allows it to slide, and that's how you set the sensitivity to it. Then you're going to need your neodymium magnets, the earth magnets, and those are going to be, you can get 50 of these on eBay for $1. And they're just a little bit smaller than these. These are block ones I took out of an old hard drive. Now that's a possibility too. If you got some junk hard drives, you can remove them out of there. But your regular normal magnets, like your refrigerator magnet stuff, they're not going to be strong enough. These are way stronger. And then of course I used a clear piece of, this is like a plexiglass. I had a junk old projection TV, those old ones that had 3 projectors in them that shined up on the screen. And there's like 3 layers to the screen. One of them is just a clear piece of plexiglass. I can't remember. I think it was actually the outer layer, or the layer between the two. It was one of the two. And what you do is you cut a square out of it that's going to, be, of course, be bigger. And if you have the possibility, and I did, I used a hole saw. In the hole saw I had cut this, it was about 1/4 inch bigger all the way around. And that's fine. Now, if you don't have the hole saw, either way, what I did is I took, I had another little chunk of PVC, 1.5 inch. And what you do is you make sure there's a hole drilled in the middle, and then you stick a bolt through that. And then use a big washer on the other end and bolt it down on a PVC pipe. Then what you do is you take a file, and actually you go from this end, and you just keep going around until you file it down to where it's round and it matches the contour of your PVC pipe. That's all there is to doing that. And to screw it on, I just cut a little square piece. The piece I cut off of this, which we'll get to in a minute, because you have to cut some of this off. I used a heat gun, heated it up, and then pressed it between 2 pieces of wood by hand. Flattened it out, and that's how I cut a square piece here so I could run the screws through. And you can see there, so I could screw it down, because this is a little too thin just to run the screws through. So I screwed it, made that little piece, and then I took a file again and rounded it off so it matched the contour. And that's all you got to do there. And then I have another piece of the square that I cut. And what I did is I took a file, a flat file, and filed down a little bit, because if the pipe is rounded and I wanted something this would sit on a little better. So I filed a little bit, didn't have to go down too much. And then I used some of the PVC glue and put a little of that on there, and then stuck this piece on. And then I took and drilled 2 little pilot holes smaller than the screws and screwed it in. And I don't know if you can see in here, the ends of the screws just barely poke through. I can just barely feel them. So I didn't bother grinding them off. On this piece, they did stick through a little bit, so I ground them off with my Dremel tool. But there's lots of different ways. I mean, modify. You could use the square piece if you didn't want to take the time and file this down. It's going to work. You just want to make sure you get the magnets in the proper place, so when this goes shut, it's going to keep the mouse from being able to get out. And as you can see, there's not much of a gap around here either. You want to be careful. If there's too much of a gap, and they'll start pressing in there and they'll get it open. But even with just these 2 magnets on here, I don't think the mouse is going to get this open. So that's all you need for the tube itself, the trap tube. Then, of course, you want your 2 inches of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. And like I said, I'm going to be getting 2 end caps. And I'm going to fill this with sand to make it a little heavier so it doesn't just tip over real easy. Then, What you do is you cut another piece. This is about 2.5, 3 inches. Now I cut this a little bit closer. What you want to do is cut it so it's going to be about 3/4. I should have had a little bit more on there. Luckily it was just over half, so it does clip on there and hold enough to where it's not going to come off, but just barely. I did accidentally cut that a little too small. On the next one of these I am going to cut it so there's a little bit more wrapped around. You pretty much want about 3/4 of the pipe left. You want to cut about 1/4 of it off. You can use a hacksaw, but I had a miter box and a wood saw, and that actually was a wood handsaw with the miter box. It worked perfect for cutting this. Then this piece here is about 6 inches. You could probably get away with 4 inches. You could use 8. It's just, I actually had this piece. It was already cut to 6 inches, and it worked fine. Then what I did is I had a half moon file, so it was rounded on one side, flat on the other. I used the rounded side and went in the middle and filed it, because otherwise you just have 2 small points touching each other for gluing. So what I did is I filed in a little bit so that this sat in there a little better. Then I used some PVC cement, glued it on. Then after that set up, I took the hot glue gun and went around it to add a little more glue and support. And that's all you need for the base. As you can see, that clips on there. And that's being able to move. That's how you set the sensitivity of this trap. And that's all there is to it. I mean, this is super easy. You can substitute lots of different things. The trap tube itself, I wouldn't go any smaller than 1.5 inches. You could go 2-inch pipe. If you go much larger, that's going to be more for like rats or chipmunks, stuff like that. 1.5 to 2 inch will work perfect for this. Like I said, you could use a square piece on the front here. That'd be fine. I just wanted it to look nice, so I took the time, filed it down. The hinge, easy to get. Go to your hardware store. You're going to get 4 of these. Actually, I got mine at an Unclaimed Freight, so they're a little cheaper. You got a hardware store, you're probably talking like 2 something. And you're going to get a package of 4 of these, because I looked there, but Unclaimed Freight or dollar store, you might be able to find one, or just order them online. eBay is going to be real cheap for them. And of course the end cap, that was 80 some cents. Then you can paint it up, make it look all pretty. And that's all there is to it. So, well, I think we're going to wrap this video up. I think I went on long enough. I would like to thank you for joining us here at the Z-Hut today. I do hope you found this information useful, and I do recommend building one of these. This is a great trap. Even though it catches the mouse alive, it's still, actually in my opinion, a little more effective than the snap traps, because some of the snap traps, I've had mice lick them clean. I actually got a video on how to bait your mouse traps and rat traps to catch them more often. But with this, once they get in there and they pass the halfway, the point of no return, you got them. Unless you got a kid that's going to come up, open this, let them out. No, that's about the only way they're going to get out. All right, well, thanks for joining us here at the Z-Hut today. Please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Have a great day and have fun building your own teeter-totter mousetrap. Hope to catch you here again.